Hi there, guys, and welcome to today's live stream. Now, we have a little bit of a situation. You should be seeing me and the representatives from CampusCoin right now. But the situation is that the two guys, we were supposed to have two members of the CampusCoin team coming for the live stream, and apparently their flight over from North Carolina was delayed. So half an hour ago, we connected up and we're doing the sound test and everything, but they were in a car and they were on a mobile phone. And I'm like, it's just not going to work, right? Because it was chopping in and out, and now you guys were just not going to stand for choppy audio and cameras moving around and cutting out and all that type of thing. So they've got the CEO of CampusCoin, Matthew Leonard. So they've gone to get him and get him on the call. Where he says he's installing Zoom right now, but he'll be missing in action as well. But this is my channel. It's my responsibility to bring. Oh, there he is. He's actually arrived. There was me making some excuses for him, and he's arrived. So I wasn't actually sure if he was going to turn up or not, and I was going to actually do an intro to CampusCoin myself. Hello, sir. Are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm here. How are you doing? I
Good, mate.
can.
Thank you. Yes, we are actually live right now because I had to go live at the allotted time, so we haven't had time to do the sound test and everything, but we are broadcasting live on YouTube right now. So,
That's all right. Hopefully, I sound fine this way.
well, we can. I'll keep an eye
Uh,
on the chat. So, people, let me know. Let me know if the audio levels are fine. I can see the equalizer looks okay. But yes, so you're Matthew Leonard, right? Is that right?
yeah, yeah. I'm
Okay,
the CEO, founder. Yep.
excellent. So I met. I think it was Rich that I met. Mario and Rich, was it the two guys that I met in
Yep.
Vegas?
Yeah.
Okay. So
Yep.
which one's
Yeah.
which?
One's our stuff. Rich is our strategy officer.
Right.
He was the man with the blonde hair, and then Mario was our PR guy, who is he's a boxing publicist, and he's the balding one.
That's the guy. Yeah, because he was talking about boxing and UFC and stuff while we were in Vegas and so on. Sweet. But you're the founder and the CEO of the whole project, right?
Yep, yep. Me and a couple of my college buddies, I kind of came up with the idea a few years ago while I was still in college. I really I thought I could, create a solution using a blockchain for a lot of the problems I faced in college. Like,
Go on. Tell us some of those
I had
problems.
trouble. So, sometimes I had troubles, being able to send funds to my buddies, to get food, to receive funds for food. I had a lot of problems, right, my, and also, um, just making sure that I could eat and my could eat too. Now, I wasn't the only one.
So
Not,
just to let you know, mate, we've got some
I'm a
terrible bandwidth problems on
poorest
your end.
family either. It's just you. Really? Okay.
Yes.
1 second. I will try and turn off. I think I'm on a very bad Wi-Fi. That is my problem.
Okay.
My apologies. Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, we'll have to see how it
Better
goes.
quality?
We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
Okay.
So you were describing the problems. So one of the problems was you said you had problems sending money to your fellow college students, right? So what problems? What was
Right.
the problem? So couldn't you just send them maybe I'm speaking from the UK point of view. So I could just send a transaction from the banking app on my phone, for example, straight to any one of my contacts, right? So
Right.
is it not as easy as that,
So
right?
my problem was, let's say I wasn't the most organized person, so maybe this applies more to me than others, but
Okay. Well, great.
I think I have money, and let's say I go to a store or a restaurant, sit down and eat, and I go to pay the bill, and I realize I'm like $5 short. There's no
Okay.
method that allows, my fellow student to give me that $5 I need as quickly as I need it.
Okay.
Whereas, I thought of a way, if you use the blockchain, you can easily allow for that transaction to occur, in minutes, and it saves a lot of hassle. I've had many times where I thought I was going to have money, and went to go purchase something and I was off, and it would allow for people to, have leniency with their money. That allows people who, you know, may be too busy to they may be too busy to, think about their funds or their money at all times, and this allows to, simplify that as much as possible. In more ways than just, sending funds to other students. There's multiple things that we're trying to implement that will help simplify
Okay.
the whole college process.
So what other problems did you personally come across as a college student that you thought you could solve with this project?
I mean, aside from the whole food thing, I wanted different ways for businesses. Like I know I have a one business owner from my school who he ended up being one of my friends throughout college. I would go there a lot. He owned a little convenience store, and he always complained. He was like, like I get some bad employees. They'll steal stuff from me. I always have to deal with theft with like not just employees, but drunk college kids coming in, running in, and like grabbing it whatever they can and running out. And I thought, there would be a way we could, help limit that as well, because, every transaction is recorded on the blockchain. And,
Right.
if we can even so much as group it down to specific items that we could put onto the blockchain, then you could even, group it down to what each individual item is being stolen and at what time, because, you can see if you're able to, identify like bags of chips or like cookies as different items on a blockchain, and let's say you have 10 bags of chips that were bought on the blockchain, and there's an 11th bag that's gone, then you can pinpoint almost when it happened based on using the blockchain. And then also we have this new idea we're coming out with called proof of location. It's not new to us. We didn't come up with the idea, but I think it's relatively new in the blockchain space. And what we're trying to do with that is, the app will be used with proof of location to tell where people are at given times. So businesses that elect to use CampusCoin will be given the option to have beacons that they can track. That'll be used for data analysis. They can track how many customers come in, at what times are most popular, what the most like popular items are, stuff like that. And then, but it can also help with the theft, where if 100 customers come in and they register like 100 items bought, but then there was this 100 and that's sorry. Let me. So basically, that 100, like the 101st item that it isn't recorded on the blockchain, can be pinpointed just based on using the proof of location and the timestamp on the transactions. And
Hmm.
that's more or less. Well, that's
Right.
another one of the big ones.
So that's sort of the supply side of that. The guys, when I was speaking to them in Vegas, they were talking about using that proof of location thing to create rewards for things like attendance, for example. Like, so you get
Right,
points
right.
just for showing up to class, type of thing.
Definitely. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, we another part of the proof of location is going to have to do with like attendance and sporting events and stuff. So, students will be rewarded for, hitting like going to a school or going to class every day. Schools will be given the options. Like, let's say a school is struggling to, get enough attendance at their football games,
Hmm.
and they want to. I've heard problems with schools. They might drop out of a conference in a league because they're not receiving enough attendance and at their games, and that conference wants a bigger school in their place. So schools, might be given the option to reward students just for attending, a football game
Right.
or a basketball game, depending on where the needs are. So that combined with just attendance alone, allows for a lot of rewards for students for showing up and being having school spirit.
Gotcha, gotcha. So say I accumulate some campus coins by just doing the proof of attendance thing, for example, then
Mhm.
what can I do with them?
What can you do with them? Okay, so the goal, I mean, the ultimate goal would be, you use our mobile app. They're automatically sent to your account in your mobile app, and then you can use it. You can use it to send to your friends. Like it's the goal is to have a very simple user interface. We make it as simple as possible. No need to like type out a long, confusing wallet address that you might
Hmm.
mess up. It's gonna have a friends list and stuff. It'll have a very similar feel to like a Facebook and a Venmo is what we're going for. But then also, we're hoping you can go to, your local bookstore, your local restaurant, your local convenience store, and just purchase items with Campus.
Gotcha.
And so we actually that leads into another good point. We just paired with a company called Coin Ltd, and
Okay.
they developed their own proprietary payment gateway
Hmm.
that doesn't that runs independent of Visa, and it's called the CPN, the Cryptocurrency Payment Network. And what we're planning to do is put all these terminals that have the CPN installed on it into different merchants, um, into the schools, hopefully as well, their local businesses and local bookstores. But and what that'll allow for is students, can easily transact at each of these businesses and use this protocol that's completely independent of Visa, which we love that, because a lot of cryptocurrencies have been having troubles with Visa shutting them down. And we wanted to, if we were going to go this route, we wanted something like completely independent of that, and we're thrilled that we found something like this. So
That's
that's
actually a
gonna
good one. Yeah, I like that.
yeah.
Even these crypto debit cards are having trouble because it's Visa that's got the strong arm to kind of close them down, right?
Right, exactly. So these will be completely independent of Visa. If Visa says one day we're not doing anything with crypto, we wouldn't be affected by it whatsoever. So
Hmm.
I love that. I
That's
love
interesting.
that. Yeah.
So what I was thinking there was there's a number of places in the UK that they're known as university towns, meaning like the whole economy is built
Mhm.
around the uni, right? So what happens, and this isn't just in university towns, it happens in any city with a uni, but especially in these university towns where like the students they bootstrap the economy. So the bars, restaurants, convenience stores have student rates for cinemas or whatever it happens to be, right? So it almost
Mhm.
reminded me of that, but just a crypto version of that. Is that where we're going with this?
Right, kind of, yeah. So these terminals, the idea of them is we get them, put into, all places around the campus themselves, and in these like university towns where they're going to be utilized the most by the students that are using CampusCoin and our app the most.
Gotcha. So I was just looking on your site here. You called it powered by CPN. What did you say that was what did that stand for?
The cryptocurrency payment network.
The cryptocurrency payment network.
So that
And
that was that was the what was given the name. That was what Coin Ltd named their proprietary network is the CPA.
and that allows merchants to take card payments without Visa. Is that right?
Exactly. So it'll be cryptocurrency payments at first exclusively campus, and it's it's just a software that runs totally independent of Visa.
Okay. So let's talk about the name, right? Because the thing that got my attention when the guys were explaining Campus Coin to me was they were thinking about, right, let's get back to basics here. Cryptocurrency adoption, right? How do we get people to use it? So what were all the problems? Things like usability, long addresses, even how receptive people are to the notion of crypto. So they were thinking,
Right.
they thought, well, you guys, obviously, I say they, I'm talking about they, the Campus Coin project here. But what they were describing to me is like, think about Facebook, right? And this was the humdinger. They said the way that went viral is they started with a really receptive audience, which was the
Hmm.
college campus, and then via a network effect of almost like referrals, everyone wanted to be in the club then, right? Everyone wanted to be on Facebook. And to begin with, you had to be a college student. And then, of course, that had the ripple effect from there. So by a similar, is this a similar strategy to get cryptocurrency out there by starting with the receptive audience and then going kind of rippling out from there?
Exactly. I think that's a great analysis. We realize that college students, tend to be open to new ideas and stuff. They are constantly learning, and they are just, especially freshmen, are just thrown into a new environment, and
Mm-hmm.
typically are trying to look for a way to identify themselves and get behind something. And this is just another thing that we hope students can get behind. We obviously aim the students we're going to get at first are going to be the ones who are most involved in cryptocurrency, because we're not too big yet, but the ones who do find us, especially the students, tend to really like what we're trying to do, and are
Right.
trying to promote it to all the other students. And what we've realized, is while students, today might not be the most educated in cryptocurrency, we've found, it's more the 25 to 35-year-old age range that really, understands crypto the
Right.
most, I would say.
Sure.
But that's because, those were the guys that were, 18, 20 years old when crypto was around, and like first beginning. And those are the guys that have been here since the beginning and really, stuck with it.
Right.
But
And that's the key
anyway,
to adoption, right? Is you need a reason to use it. I mean,
right.
if I'm a tech enthusiast, I might just like learning about it just because I find it interesting. But it isn't. It's not. That's not useful information. I can't do anything with it. And that's probably the number one question that I get asked, or it's the reason why I build online courses, is because there's tons of info about like what's a blockchain, what's encryption, what's this, what's that, what's the other. But even if you learn all that, you sit there and go, okay, got a head full of knowledge. Now what, right?
Right,
Sounds
exactly.
conceptually sounds brilliant, but I don't feel like I can do anything new as a result other than talk about it, right?
Right, exactly. And that's why, that's one of the, big reasons behind CampusCoin. I love blockchain. Like, I love the idea of the application of it, but there really just isn't enough projects out there that are focused on, usability and just application. We're not trying to reinvent anything. We're not trying to recreate, we're not trying to be the most secure or the fastest, or, the most private, but, we're trying to, give it a real application and try and bring
Mm,
light to something that is so useful in so many different ways. And we just think that this is a great place to bring it to people who will run with it, kind of.
right.
If college students all can if college students can all understand what its uses are, then that by the time they're 35, 40 years old, I don't see why blockchain isn't going to be used everywhere.
Absolutely. That's the next bit, right? The smart thing about targeting university students is that they are going to become the new mainstream, right? On
Exactly.
block as they get older, they'll become the most powerful purchasing class because they'll get to their 35, 40-year-old, the peak earning years, and they'll have grown up literally with crypto. And then, I mean, that's where you can't really stop crypto adoption from that in that regard because the younger people are just going to bring it with them to their 30s and 40s, and then they'll just be part of them. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's awesome because if especially if we teach them financial responsibility as well, and how to responsibly spend their money, when how to portion it out, and we just kind of show them that hey, like, the blockchain is a way that you can more easily spend your money and also save your money, because you always know what you're doing with it, and it's always right there. And there's many different tools that can be used out of the blockchain. So if
Mm-hmm.
they go through college using our blockchain and understand, whoa, I can do all this stuff, I can be financially responsible, I can store data, my like own personal data on there. That's another thing we're going to go for, storing like academic documents, like within smart contracts. Like, imagine all diplomas are verified on a blockchain, so that if an employer ever needed to go verify that an employee actually got what they said they did, they can just go look at our blockchain, all the way down to even transcripts, or attendance itself. Like, attendance records could be stored on like on the blockchain itself, and protected. forever, so that it's only accessed by the people that need it, but it's 100% verifiable at any given time.
Mm-hmm. Sure. That's what I like about it. You can I can think of a lot of, again, we haven't talked about the tech much, but because that matters less, like you say, as long as the technology is adequate and secure and performs, it doesn't need to be the fastest or the most secure, because what's most important is that it gets used. So I'm thinking, like, if you think as CampusCoin is in, when it reaches its full potential, powering what I would call the whole student economy. What if I'm the leader of the chess club and I want to boost attendance? I run competitions where you can win Campus Coin, or again, give out Campus Coin for attending the chess club. Or if I'm, struggling with a math problem, I can go to another student and then incentives, say, I'll pay you 10 Campus Coins if you come and help me with this assignment, type of thing, right? I can think of all manner of. So what I'm thinking is student to student services based on strengths and
Right.
weaknesses, and Campus Coin powers the whole thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we actually, we kind of thought of a couple different ideas that came or that go along with that. We thought of a decentralized teaching platform. So anybody can go out and post lecture notes, or notes on specific topics. It could be all the way down from the third lecture in your English 401 class, or all the way up to Romeo and the whole concept of Romeo and Juliet. You get as broad or as specific as you want, and then you can also limit it to different schools. So a student at the University of North Carolina knows that the material he's getting for that class is always from students at North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And that way, it can be broken down to specific lectures. So if he misses the fourth lecture of the year, he can, simply go and look into that database and look at all the best notes from the fourth lecture of that year,
That's
and
nice.
kind of just take Campus Coin for those lecture notes.
That's cool, man. And I suppose the
Right.
incentive to post your notes is that you
Mm-hmm.
receive Campus Coin.
Exactly.
So it creates a free market competition for who can take the best notes, basically.
Exactly. And then, yeah, as you get higher ratings, you're going to be more likely to, show up at the top, and you're also going to be rewarded a higher percentage of that Campus Coin.
That's crazy. So that literally is earn while you learn. And if it's one thing that's a burden on college students is their student debt, right? So if they can start, well, basically earning an income, however small, doing what they're already doing, just with some small changes, because that's one of the things I always say is, if a project relies on a radical change in behavior, yeah, it's a difficult one, right? Because the
Right.
bigger change in behavior requires an even bigger incentive, and even then, sometimes people won't do it. But if it's just a slight change in behavior, that's what I think cryptocurrencies are good at. You don't need a lot of an incentive to get people to sort of just slightly change their habits, because if they're going to get something out of it, right?
Right. Exactly. Definitely becomes much easier that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Sweet. So how old is Campus Coin then? When did you originally come up with the idea for this thing?
So, I mean, my original all right, the very first time I ever thought of it was what was it, very beginning of 2014. So I was a junior, or yeah, third year student, second semester. And it was one night I was doing some research on blockchain and Bitcoin and stuff, and I was like, like I really like this stuff. Like, this was when I was first, really getting into it. I mean, I'd been exposed to the idea as early as like 2011, but I didn't really get into it too much until end of 2013, 2014. And I was like, this really has a lot of application on college campuses, I think. And it really began, with that hunger thing I was talking about at first. But then, I realized there are a lot of different applications that came to it. And I kind of, I did some research and was like, I wonder if I can make my own blockchain. And then I looked into Bitcoin, I looked into Litecoin, I looked into Peercoin, I looked into a couple different coins. And I was like, I'm just gonna make my own. And I slowly, from 2014 till about June of June of 2017, I built it out. I mean, I didn't work on it full time. I obviously was a college student, but The second I graduated in May of 2017, I hit the full pedal to the metal and went crazy with it. And then, I fully released the blockchain in July.
Based on that story, did you build it yourself?
So I built it partially myself, and then I also got some help. So I had a buddy in college who was a computer science major who helped me a lot. And then I have a buddy who I kind of acts as like an advisor to me. He doesn't want to,
Hmm.
doesn't want to be known because he doesn't help like full time enough to really be like seen. He doesn't want to be seen as a public person, but he
Right.
does help me. And yeah, so I definitely got some help, but I did build it myself for the most part.
Okay. So you have those kinds of skills, or did you have some technical skills before that, or did you just literally hit it from scratch?
Okay, so yeah, no, so I started coding back when I was in 11th grade, actually. So around 2010, 2011. And I
Okay.
mean, my skills definitely got much better from, just learning using blockchain. I definitely wasn't nearly the programmer I was when I started, but yeah, it definitely taught me some skills for sure.
How did you go about it though? Did you fork another project? Did you base it on some other source code?
Right. So exactly. So I kind of used a combination of Bitcoin and Litecoin. I liked some of the features that Bitcoin had back at the beginning that Litecoin actually didn't. But then I also preferred Litecoin's script algorithm or
Hmm.
and so I thought that was going to be a better choice for the target market. So I went and I forked Litecoin, but I also used some of Bitcoin's some different parts of Bitcoin that I thought were more beneficial.
Okay. Sweet. How did you get people to start using it? Because it's like that thing. It's a chicken and egg problem, right? When you launch it, how do you bootstrap it? Because you mine Campus Coin in a normal proof of work kind of way. Is that true?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly. Just
Okay.
normal proof of work.
So, and how do you recruit miners? Because I've never started a cryptocurrencies. I wouldn't know.
Right. Right. So it all began with like I didn't really know how to do that at first either, to be honest, but. I posted like an announcement page. I was like, hey, I kind of laid out what we were trying to do. And then I thought the first thing to do after that was to get onto an exchange. And so, we went on to a fairly small crypto exchange, coinexchange.io. I don't know if that one's too popular or if you know of that one, but they do like a few $1 million a day in volume. It's nothing too special. But we figured we liked the idea of that exchange because it kind of reminded us of us. They seemed like they had a good future. They were adding coins constantly. They had a good support team. They had like a very friendly UI that I liked a lot, and I thought that they would be a good fit. And I also, don't you can't just jump and hope to go for a huge exchange at first unless you have hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're willing to throw at one of
Hmm.
these, which we didn't have. This was all funded out of my own pocket, just from my own cryptocurrency investments from beforehand and just other things. So we really didn't have the crazy amount of money after like a big exchange, and we also kind of realized we liked that idea better because it allows us to grow at a more organic rate, and we can make some more mistakes and we can learn from
Right.
what we're doing more, and slowly just build it out that way. And then we got on that exchange, and we just started promoting on social media as much as possible, trying to message blockchain enthusiasts and various people like that until people started actually buying us on Coin Exchange, and people started joining our Discord channel, our Telegram channel, and it slowly just started spreading. And it's just continued to slowly grow organically since. So
Well, that's good because every time someone joins a Telegram group or whatever, the validating the idea is what I would say. Is because if it was a flat out stupid idea, everyone would just ignore it, right? But it has the actual vision has enough merit for people to go, huh, sounds like a good idea. I'll take a look, right? You know what I mean? And
Exactly.
I mean, I personally, I had the benefit of sitting down with two of your guys for a good 2 hours, and then they just answered any question I possibly had. And it was on that basis. When they said, "Can we have an interview?" I was like, "Sure," because
Mm.
they'd already pretty much convinced me that it was solid. And who's the ex-military kid with the big muscles? Who's that?
Rich. He's
Rich.
our chief strategy officer. Yeah.
Right, that guy's got passion for days for this project, right?
Oh yeah.
Enthusiasm, right? That sold me because he was just all over, right? When I was asking him
Mhm.
questions, he was just so pleased to talk about it, and I'm like, okay, that matters to me. So you're actually, I'm looking at the CoinMarketCap today. You're actually on on Cryptopia, Coin Exchange was the one you mentioned, and then Stocks Exchange. So they're all listed on CoinMarketCap as exchanges that you can get by CampusCoin. So I've not I've not heard of Stock Exchange before, but Cryptopia I've heard of. So did you know about that? Is that of your doing, or have they picked that up on their own? Oh, I think we've dropped you.
Wait, sorry. I think yeah.
Yeah. So did you catch what I said?
Better, better.
Yeah, it's better. It's better. Yeah. So yeah, did you catch what I just said about the exchanges?
Yeah, Cryptopia Stocks Exchange. Yep. So yeah, we're on those as well. Yep. And Cryptopia is actually our most popular one as of now, for sure.
Did you campaign to get on there, or did they pick it up on their own? How did that work?
No, so we did a little campaigning. We had to do some fundraising. Actually, back in July and August, we did some fundraising for Cryptopia. We accepted donations for the listing, but then that didn't work as well as we had hoped. So then it ended up just turning into me paying for a good chunk of it out of pocket. But at the time, it wasn't too expensive. It was only like $4,000 to $5,000, and that was around what we paid for Coin Exchange as well. So we figured it'd be another good exchange that has it had more volume than Coin Exchange at the time, and it helped. We thought it helped with exposure, so we just went ahead and paid for that. And since then, we've never had an exchange that's come to us and said, hey, we want to list you for free because we really like your idea. It's always been us reaching out to them and then having to pay some sort of listing fee,
So
which we
that's
hope.
what it is. Is it? It's a listing fee. Is that what they?
Exactly.
Okay. Now I think it's a chicken and egg problem, that one, for smaller projects, because um, like you were saying, you didn't have tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars to get on a big exchange, which is kind of a problem because being on an exchange is kind of important both from a promotional point of view and just from a economics point of view.
Right.
And being listed on a major exchange can be a breaking, like a breakthrough point for a smaller project. But like you say, neither did you want to spend that kind of money, and also it kind of gives you the time to um, stay underground for a while, build it organically, in kind of the Facebook way, saturate the campuses, and then go out from there. So on that, the
Exactly.
ripple effect thing. This is another thing I talked to Rich about. Was once this is a way of getting to the parents. Is something I thought. It's a way of getting to people who the students know that aren't necessarily students. So
Right.
let's use the proof of location attendance example, just because it's an easy one. They've obviously got a record of their campus coin earnings based on their attendance and so on and so forth. So, or if they win a math competition or whatever the incentives happen to be. Now, I said, what about this use case where I'm the parent of the college student, and I would say something like, "All right, I tell you what, I'll I'll basically match your campus coin earnings if you do X, Y, and Z, right? So say
Right.
the attendance thing is say if you come to me and show me you've earned 50 campus coins from the attendance program, I'll match it with another 50 campus coins. So me as the parent, I'm creating my own double incentive scheme, and do
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Do you know what I'm saying? And then
Yeah.
also,
Yeah.
so and you could put some limits on it to say, well, you're not allowed to spend them on booze or something.
Right.
You know what I'm saying, right? Because that was another thing Rich was talking about, changing the incentive to spend money on things that don't help education and towards things that are better for their future and things like that. So that was one of the use cases that I thought, to get the parents involved, and then like, oh, what's this cryptocurrency thing, and that might start them off on the path as well.
Right, exactly. This is, yeah, we think this is a great avenue for, parents who have kids, but, would have no interest to use Campus Coin or use cryptocurrency in general. But, they have a student that, can prove that they're receiving these coins for, educational purposes or for completing educational tasks, and, giving parents the option to, as long as we can ensure that it's being spent on the correct things.
Hmm.
We can allow parents to safely say that they can send their kids funds without it be gone on booze, like you were saying.
Right,
Exactly.
exactly.
Which leads to another great point, actually. So I think that can really help solve the student athlete problem. So one of
Yes.
the main, yeah, so one of the main problems, that um is one of the big issues with paying student athletes today is people worry about like those funds are going to go. They're worried they're not going to spend them on books and food. But we can have the ability to limit that. We can give them. We're working on a strategy where we give them specific cards that allow for and we record that address essentially, and that address is only allowed to transact with other addresses. So those addresses will be their local bookstore, their local dining hall, their maybe their convenience store. But also they'll have limits on what they can spend at each of those places. So if the local basketball player on the team has like 10 buddies who all aren't athletes, he could go and buy them all dinner and then have them all buy him booze or something. And that's not what we want. We want, him to be spending his money that he's earning from that only on educational stuff. And that this way we can do that. So we can limit based on what type of restaurant it is, and if it's a bookstore, that might need a higher limit than a convenience store.
Right.
And we can set things up like that to really make sure that the students are getting paid, are using what they're getting paid for correctly.
Hmm. Sure.
And
Now, go for it. Go for it.
we also there were the other biggest issue that people have with paying college students that we've noticed is like the lack of competitive nature, and also the lack of attendance in schools. So those are two separate points. But the lack of attendance, we can simply say, hey, if you don't go to class, we have this proof of location thing that tells us that you're not going to class. We don't have to pay you. So we can limit that. And then also, if removing competitive nature from the game, I think we can add more competitive nature to the game. What if we set up things where it's like where schools will reward their kids for doing better in like the March Madness tournament that just happened, or like the college national football championship. Let's say winning the championship, earns you an X amount of more campus coin, because, it brings in the school that much more money. So
Right.
it's only fair that it's distributed to the students in that way as well.
Sure. Well, they could just budget a 1% of the money they get and buy campus coin with it and then give it back to the team, sort of thing.
Exactly.
That would be cool. Now, a minute ago, when you were talking about, say, the college athletes and the rewards, and then limiting A, where they could spend it, and B, how much they could spend in each place, right? Now,
Mhm.
I can see that coming across like, wow, there's some seriously restricted limits, right? So this is more
Right.
of a conceptual question, which is why. I think I know the answer to this. I'll offer my own answer to this, and then you can tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
But the question is, why is that necessary, right? Now, my answer to that is that um, younger people are very now focused, right? And don't necessarily project far enough in the future in terms of the cause today that has an effect in the future, right? And I suppose that's just as you live more and you've been in the world more years, you get to see more examples of how your previous decisions have repercussions for many, many, many years after, potentially your whole life. But the fewer years you've lived, the less tangible that is, right? So this is my
Right.
answer as to why this is necessary. You almost need to create artificial limits until once you learn discipline and you learn why discipline is important, then you don't need the training wheels anymore. You'll just choose to make the right choices because it's best for you. But until you learn that, creating these systems is the best way to train people to do it. How close am I off base there?
Definitely. No, that I would say that's, the main concept behind it, but more specifically, it solves the problem of, making sure the student athletes don't spend the funds incorrectly, but more broadly, it's making sure everyone is responsibly spending and, kind of make sure that that is happening. And then as they, as they become more I hate to use the word trustworthy, but as they, prove that, they can responsibly spend, those limits can be taken off or, are increased entirely.
Right.
So.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Once they become more responsible, disciplined, whatever we want to call it, once they develop that skill, then the program has served its purpose in that way, right?
Right. Exactly.
So we pulled you in the last minute for this interview. So that was going to be Rich, and who was the other guy I've never met?
Oh, Spencer. He's our director of business development.
Right. So they're on their way somewhere. Where are they going, to a university campus?
Right. So they're going to Coastal Carolina to talk about. They're having a seminar there. Actually, it actually starts in about 45 minutes.
Okay, sweet. So what are they doing there?
Yeah. So it's just gonna be an hour-long seminar. They're gonna, they're talking to mostly faculty and students that aren't too versed in cryptocurrency.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're going to spend 10, 15 minutes going over the basics of Bitcoin and blockchain and all of that good stuff. And then, spend another 10, 15 minutes of talking about CampusCoin and the applications of it at the school. And then it's going to turn into a Q&A for another 30 minutes or so. And then, yeah, it should be good.
So do you guys do a lot of that, going around the unis and talking to the students and introducing it to them in that way?
Yeah, so we actually just started doing that. This will be our first official one at a school.
Okay.
A couple months ago, we did one. Our CIO, or sorry, our CCO, Chief Creative Officer, Brian. We had a seminar. Yeah, we had a seminar a couple months ago for all of our friends and family, and it was like 100 people there or so. And that one was like a 2-3 hour long seminar explaining like just about everything, because we wanted all these people to really understand, everything from blockchain to cryptography to mining to just about anything you could think of, like when it came to basics of blockchain. We wanted them to know. And so that was our first one, and that was our test run, and we really loved it. So then we decided, why don't we just start doing that at all college campuses? I know this is our first one today, actually. So
that's cool, man. I think that will work because the cryptocurrency space is so intangible, right? And a lot of it happens online, and so having the physical component is pretty key, especially when there's so many different coins and you don't know which one's real and which one isn't. At least if you've got a representative, and the fact that yours is a niche project, right? It's CampusCoin, right? In the future, it may expand way beyond that. However, like I always say, the key to a marketing message is, can someone look at it and in a split second answer the question, is that for me or not? Now, you see CampusCoin, and before you've even got the subtitle or the tagline, you go, well, I'm a student, I'm going to investigate more, versus Potcoin or whatever it happens to be. Even because Bitcoin doesn't tell you anything about it other than it's a digital coin. You with me?
Right.
So about the name, though, I noticed you guys are very good at rocking the swag.
Oh yeah, we love the CampusCoin shirts. We're hoping to get more of a merchandise store going soon, actually, with sweatshirts, hats, pants, anything really. Because like you just said, they have to make a split-second decision on, what if they want to investigate more or less. And CampusCoin is such a perfect name for what we're going for, that we should try and get that out there as much as possible. The name itself carries so much weight that we really want to promote that and just get as many college students to just see the name as possible.
Right, and you kind of want it to become a fad, don't you?
Right. Yeah.
That'll really kick it off.
A fad that sticks.
Now, so I mean, a fad in the beginning that just lights the fire. That's the kindling.
Oh yeah, exactly.
And then if the project's got substance, it will stick around. So Rich was wearing one of those shirts when he came to the meetup in Vegas, right? And actually, it was the first thing I saw. I thought, oh, some guys from a cryptocurrency project, and they actually didn't just start selling me. I had to ask them. It was probably 30 minutes after meeting them that I actually managed to get the question in, like, what's this thing on your shirt? And then that started the whole conversation. So that was cool. So it was striking because it's kind of like, is it like Sense, but it's CampusCoin?
Right. Yeah. So it's like it's two C's for CampusCoin, but then it kind of has like the cent look to it with the double, but it also has like two lines though, so it's like the dollars. I don't know. I don't know. I like it though.
It's good. It's cool. Yeah, it's cool. So are you gonna? I mean, I'm not to be saying anything derogatory about your swag, but are you gonna? Because college kids, it's gonna need to be cool because that's just a green T-shirt with a logo on it, right? Which is fine to begin with. But I'm thinking if you again, I'm just talking from my marketing experience. If you really want it to take off, it both has to both be the CampusCoin and the garment itself needs to be cool, if you know what I mean.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, we definitely are. We hired a lot of people to make sure we know we're staying up to date in the cool college ecosystem.
The culture, so, as it were, right?
Yeah, the culture. There we go, the culture. So gotcha. That way, we always have we're always up to date and know what's going on there, and that way we can market as best as possible.
Sure. So when I was talking to Rich, we were talking about how to get CampusCoin out there, and my idea was contact the editors of like college newspapers.
Yeah. So we've actually started talking about that. I had a meeting with one of our team members yesterday who she actually goes to Purdue, and she was talking about contacting the editor of that newspaper, and that made me think of why don't we do that everywhere? So that's something that we're gonna continue to do, and I think that reaching out to editors of the newspapers, we're gonna reach out to computer science professors, blockchain professors, anyone at tech, just any tech professor, anyone interested in tech that might be at schools. We're gonna hunt them down like dogs and get them to at least consider us.
Yeah, you need someone on the inside to buy into it, like one major ambassador in each uni, someone to champion the cause, right? And then they can start the ripple from inside any given uni, right? I don't think it's a hard sell though. I honestly don't. I think if I were going out there as an evangelist for CampusCoin, I don't think that would be a hard job because it's because the message is already there. One of the things I used to hate about sales back in the day was selling something I didn't really like or that I didn't think was any good to the customer. Right. That was the hardest thing. And of course I knew I had to make sales, but it bothered me. It bothered me that because I didn't really want them to buy it, right?
Yeah, you didn't have
Whereas
passion.
You with me, right? So that's what I do like about your projects. If I was charged with going out there on the ground and evangelizing it, I wouldn't have any problem doing that because there's a lot to it, right?
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So just while I check the chat for any questions here in the live stream, is there anything major that you wanted to make sure we talked about before we either take a question from the audience or bring it to a close? Is there anything major I've missed?
No, I think we covered most of it. We've talked about a lot of the features of the app and the blockchain itself that we're implementing. I guess what we haven't really talked about too much is our ambassador program. So
okay, go for it.
We have this huge ambassador program that we're working out right now. We're currently sitting at about 180 ambassadors worldwide, and actually about 35 different countries too.
Okay.
Which is really cool. And these ambassadors, they register on our website, and their jobs are to just go around and promote CampusCoin, get other students to use the Discord channel and the app when it comes out, and then they're rewarded with CampusCoin for doing so.
Of course.
And why not? And then we're hoping to get X number of ambassadors at each school, and then they just continue to spread the word to all their students, and that kind of will just take off and be like a ripple effect.
Sweet. Don't say ripple.
Don't say ripple.
The ripple effect.
Yeah.
So I don't see. There's a lot of chat going on, but I don't see many questions. Someone's like, Chris, you should start your own cryptocurrency. Fine. blah blah blah. There's just a load of chat, not many questions. Anyway,
Okay.
so Matthew, for now, thank you very much for coming for this live stream interview on the Cryptoverse. Kind of caught you on the spot, unprepared, so you did a great job, mate.
Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, if you like this video, hit the like button. If you disliked it, hit the dislike button. Leave us a comment below with some feedback and get subscribed. Until then, guys, it's me and Matthew saying bye for now.